Every year, there are thousands of students who are focusing on Nata to get into prestigious architecture colleges in their corresponding states. It is equally important to work on this as early as possible. This year, fortunately, Nata has actually come up with the 3 exam dates, which would be held in the month of June and July 2022. That's quite earlier notification, to be frank. So it's a good opportunity for everyone who are actually preparing to start preparing right now itself, so that they can ensure that they get good scores. And as they say, well begun is half done. Hello, everyone. This is Suraj, and you are with THiNC Institute of Design. In today's session, we would discuss about NATA's question paper patterns that they generally ask. We would also answer about whether there is any drawing questions, most probably in this year's NATA entrance exam. Let's look at the questions one by one. So one of the most frequently or repeated asked questions about NATA is, for the last 2 years, is that whether there is drawing in the NATA paper or not, because JEE being an exam that is conducted for architecture students. Similarly, NATA is also something like that. JEE has a drawing section, but for the last 2 years, NATA did not have that. Before that, NATA did have. So there is a question based on that a lot of students have been asking. So from what we understand, this year also, NATA would not be coming up with any drawing questions. So this is the information that we have as of now. Obviously, to get a little bit more clarity on that, we will have to wait until we get the official notification. However, we would also look at the 5 general types of questions that they ask, so that you can prepare accordingly, because understanding an exam in itself is quite important before you start preparing on the syllabus of that exam. Okay. To everyone who is watching, if there are any questions and doubts, please do not hesitate. We would love to take those questions and answer them. Okay. Hello, Dia. Yeah. So the type of questions that we can usually find is 5. The first one is multiple choice questions, or the ones that are traditionally most famous or most common ones that you find in the schools. I'm sure you all must have written that, multiple choice questions. Then you have multiple select type questions. Then you have preferential choice type questions, numerical answer type questions, and match the following type questions. Match the following type questions to something that was newly introduced in the 3rd NATA of 2021. One by one, we would look at these questions. I would also show you in this session one example at least for each type of questions. Okay, we would start with multiple choice questions. Multiple choice questions are typically the most common used type of questions. You can find with 4 or 5 answer choices that are given. There would only be one specific correct answer for that. You get that correct, you get the full marks. Quite simple. An example for that would be something like this. What should be the minimum height of a plane mirror required to view the full image of a person who is 6 feet tall? There are 4 different options that are given, and there is only one correct answer. You select that, you get the full marks for that. Please note, last year, NATA did not have any negative marks. Okay. However, when we are talking about JEE paper 2, it does have negative marks. Okay. Now, the second type of question is quite interesting. Multiple select type questions. In this, it's not just 4 options that would be given. There would be a lot of options that would be given. So let's say 8 or 10 answer choices would be given. There would be 4 or 5 correct answers for that. So if you get all the 4 answers correct in that, then you get the full marks. So 10 options are given, 4 of them are correct. You select all 4 of them correctly, you get the full marks. So there is a very frequently asked question about this. What happens if I select 3 out of the 4 correct answers? Interestingly, you do not get marks if you select 3 out of the 4 correct answers. Let's look at one example of MSQ, multiple select questions. Choose any 4 appropriate design elements or principles incorporated in artwork from any of the following choices. This is one of the most important lines that follows. Marks will be awarded only if all answers are right. So it is important to have all the answers marked correctly. And what type of question it is, or what type of options is it that you would be having, how many correct answers would be there. In most of the cases, in multiple select questions, in the brackets, it would be provided along with the question. So you can see here, there are 8 options that are given. In that, there is only 4 of them that is correct. So you have to select those 4 correct answers. Then only you would be getting the full mark. So this is an example of multiple select questions. So out of the 5 types of questions, before the 5 questions, we dealt with the drawing section separately. We are, from what we understand, this year NATA 22 would not be having the drawing paper, the physical drawing questions. The first type of question that we looked at was multiple choice questions. The second one was multiple select type questions. I'll show you another example. Find the missing pieces which would complete the puzzle. There are different options that are given. And in that, there are multiple correct answers. You have to select all of them to get marks. Otherwise, you would not. Even if you select 3 out of 4 correct answers, you won't be getting the complete marks. Typical kind of questions you can also find in UCED exams. Now, the third type is preferential choice type questions. Out of the 5 types, the third type is preferential choice type questions. In this, each question will have a each option will have a each option will have a prescribed mark. If there are 4 options given, one option might give you 1 mark, next one might give you 2 marks, next one might give you 3 marks, the last one might give you 4 marks. The more correct answers that you get, the more would be the marks that you would get. This is a type of question that you usually see in find the difference between 2 images. Okay, so based on the choice that the candidate is taking, we will get an idea about which one is the, you'll get an idea of how many marks you're getting. There is a question from Dia, does this type of question have negative marking? No, they don't usually have negative markings. Last year they did not have. To get a little bit more clarity for this year, we'll have to wait till they come up with the detailed notification. Okay, so this is a typical preferential choice question. Preferential choice question wherein 2 images are given. You need to find the subtle differences, minute differences that are there. So if you find out if you find out 4 differences, you will get 2 marks. If you find out 5 differences, you get maximum, that is 3 marks. If you find out 6 differences, you get 1 mark. And if you find out 7 differences, you don't get any mark. So basically, based on the preferences that you are finally arriving at, your marks will be awarded. So this is what is called as preferential choice type questions. Interestingly, this is one of the most interesting, or let's say a little bit on the difficult side questions. Now, even though the type of questions are quite clearly defined, what you need to know very well is about the areas from which different types of questions might be asked. Like from arithmetic, which are the type of questions that could be asked? From, let's say, principles of designs, which are the type of questions that could be asked? From architecture awareness, which are the type of questions that could be asked? Is it numerical? Is it preferential? Is it observation based? So that kind of varies, and that is where you need to start working upon, or you need to start putting additional effort. Okay, we've completed 3 types of questions: multiple choice questions, multiple select questions, and preferential type questions. The 4th one out of the 5 types of questions is numerical answer questions. I'm sure you all must have come across at least once. This was a type of question that was quite famous in the schools also during the COVID scenario, mostly mathematical or arithmetic aptitude based questions. So there won't be any answer choices here. You will have to provide a particular number or a particular word, like for example, fill in the blanks would be the correct answer. And if you write the exact answer, you would get certain marks. You would get the complete marks. Okay. A speed of 50 km per hour is the same as how many meters per second. So the correct answer is 13.8. If you write exactly 13.8, you get the full marks. Else, nothing. Okay. So that is about the 4th type of question. The last one is was interestingly introduced in the 3rd NATA of last year. Match the following type questions, or MFQs. Now, these are the ones wherein you have to compare between 2 of the options that are given, and only if all the answers are correct, you're going to get the full marks again. So something very similar to the multiple select questions which were there. In multiple select questions, we looked at, let's say, 10 options, 4 correct answers. You need to select all the 4 correct answers. Otherwise, you're not going to get marks. There is no partial marking scheme. Okay, like how you can see in some other exams, like let's say, for example, UC. Okay, so match the following type questions. Marks would be awarded only if all the answers are correctly marked. So there are different Indian art forms that are given. There are different names that are given. You need to look at these images and you need to compare them, and you need to figure out what are the correct names. And you need to correctly answer all the options. That is only when you will be getting the complete marks. Okay, so these were the 5 type of questions that we had looked at. We had talked about how important it is to figure out that usually there won't be any drawing section. Okay, so there won't be any physical drawing part in Nata usually. Then we talked about multiple choice questions. We looked at an example, multiple select questions, very similar to UC, preferential choice type questions, numerical answer type questions, and match the following questions. Okay, so these are the various types of questions that are there. Please prepare for every type of topic. It's not every type of question that you can prepare. That kind of varies with respect to certain topics and to certain type of questions. And that is the additional details that you need to know so that you can prepare properly. Okay, so I think this is a good starting point for everyone to start off your preparations for Nata. There is plenty of time. You can have a solid preparation. We have our new batches also coming up for Nata exclusively in all different languages. You can either opt for English, or you can opt for Hindi only, or you can opt for Malayalam languages, Malayalam batches also. So whatever is the medium that you're comfortable with, you can definitely join with respect to that. Okay. Any more questions, queries, doubts, and all you have, please contact us at 8086 111 216, or you can post below the comment section of this particular recorded session also. So that would be it from Suraj and THiNC Institute of Design in this session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, host.